Any points, or before we go over the full video of what I did, I just want to show you this bit here, which I didn't show very well in the video. That's the pin there, and this is for if you're changing the belt whilst you're doing the water pump. That nut there, bolt, it's a 30mm, and you can use a 30mm wrench apparently to lever it up clockwise, and then you push this in. Now I didn't have one of them, and I couldn't get one in there even if I did. So I basically jacked it up from inside, bit naughty, and then got someone to push the pin in when it was at the right height. So that's where it is in regards to the engine. Okay. When I did the water, again, I couldn't find any sort of bleed hole, so I just did it, topped it up, let it rest, topped it up, let it rest, run it for a while, and so far so good. I'm not a mechanic though, bear in mind. Right, this is the pump. Just want to show you a little bit on the pump. And one little issue I found handy with it was when you're under there, because you've not got much room to put all the bolts in when you got it back in, and you want to do them finger tight, and then what I found was best to tighten up the lower ones first, or do them fairly tight, and then it meant you could do the extra little finger tight when you're there, because you haven't got much spanner room up here at all, so you want to get them as tight as you can before you actually have to use the spanners. Otherwise, you know, you're going to be turning the spanners and sort of, you know, getting nowhere, and sometimes you can only move the spanner or one little bit, and then you have to reset it and go again. So I think that's about it. So you'll see the videos of what I was doing. Hopefully it will help someone out. Right, this is a video of replacing a pump on a Mini 2009 water pump, that is, a coolant pump. That's the old pump there, which I've taken off. You can see, I think the leak is caused possibly in there, possibly between the seal, but I won't know if that's the actual problem until I put it back on. But there's coolant, I don't know if you can see it, it's there. Anyway, it's a real pain of a job. This is these are the bolts. You've got 5 of those, and there's a space like that. You see my hand, literally space like that behind the car to get it out. It's a nightmare. You can just about get your fingers squeezed under like that to try and loosen it with 2 hands, kind of thing. Virtually impossible to get to the nuts. Anyway, before that you have to take off this piece, so you have to try and, them 3 are fairly easy to get off, but then you have to jig him out of the gap. Then jigging this out of the gap is even worse. I found the best way was to tilt it that way and jig it out. Whilst I'm there, I'm going to replace the belt as well, and there's the new pump, which is aluminium as opposed to the plastic. Right, let's have a look. I'm going to show you what you need to remove. You can see, so it's just the outer cover piece and the wheel, and under there, I don't know if you can see, that's where the pump goes. As you can see, there's literally no room pretty much to move. To get the pump out, I took off the belt off of here, which is easy enough to do, and this just pulled this down a tiny little bit more, which gave me a bit more room. Right, and if you want to do the belt whilst you're there, so let's talk about that quickly. You pull this thing out, and that will be put out by hand, if not try some pliers, and then you need to go up here and use, if you can see there, 30mm, I think it's a 30mm spanner, very well wrench, turn this clockwise, and then put that pin, if you can see the pin, that pin pops out and that holds it up. So that's the maintenance mode kind of thing, so it means that the belt comes loose and it's easy to do. So as I say, if you go into the water pump, you may as well do the belt whilst you're there. That's fairly straightforward. Not really a lot to say other than so far I've not had to take any of the top off, which some of the forums have suggested, but I can tell you it's an absolute pig of a job, just purely because there's no room to move, and I've still yet to get the thing back together, and we'll see how that goes. That'll do for now, I think. I'm just going to show you from under the car. This is where I had to get the water pump out. You can see the water pump there, the silver thing, the brown plastic piece, and you can see where I've got to get it up to, but this bar's in the way. I've got to somehow get it through there, and I've been trying probably for about 10 minutes now, and I still can't get it up there, but I'm going to persist on because I know that's roughly the angle it came out at. So hopefully I'll get it in, but I'll film and show you, but just showing you how tight it is and just what you've got to play with in terms of, not only that, this bar gets right in the way, whatever it is, and this wire as well. Anyway, let's see if we can get it in. Now, I've just got the pump up there, it's not screwed in yet. I don't know if you can see it there. But it's real aggro. I can't really describe it, but you had to kind of put the point in facing away and then twist it to go up, so the point's kind of up to get it in, but I couldn't do it. What I did do, it's a bit naughty, I put the old mini jack between the front strut and the engine there, which is probably really dangerous. It probably gave me a couple of extra mil. I jacked it out slightly. I don't know if that made a difference, it probably didn't, but you never know, it might have done. Right, pumps on and tighten up, and if you can see, there we are, and the bolts, you can probably see it up under there, quite all to get to. I found this sort of 10mm ratchet type spanner, was very handy. I used that one, and for the top one I used a slightly longer 10mm, they're all 10mm opening is for actually the top one I could get with that, like right at the top, like that, and then the push could get my finger just on the end of it to push it up. That one had to be for the sort of middle one on that side. Okay, let's put the rest of it together. Right, new belt's back on. I'll just show you this bit when you pull that out. Sort of releases that, so you've got some room to play with. That's the belt. There's the flywheel. There is on the pump now, and that should, I assume when I start it up, tighten up, I assume. But we'll check that. We put it back down now and give it a test run, see what's happening. Right, there it is running. So far no leaks. I feel it was scary though, the tensioner driving the bottom pulley there, obviously the top pulley, which is the pulley one which is driving the water pump. Initially when I started it, it spun and then it released itself and didn't spin for ages until I suppose the engine got certain to the temperature, and then it connected back on and spun it again. But at first I thought there was no problem, I was trying to phone everyone up and couldn't find the answer, and left. In the end I left it running, and there's the answer, it's kicking itself back in.